Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, third hour, kicking off right now on this Tuesday morning, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody who celebrates this day. Appreciate you hanging out with us, no matter where you're listening to us from. Coming up in about 15 or so minutes, we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal. We'll talk some Badgers, some hoops, some hockey, all that good stuff with him. So that'll be coming up here momentarily. Also, don't forget to get those brackets in, all right? Quite a few of you already done so, but just head to our website, click on the Fan Cave tab, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and get your brackets in. Make your picks now. So maybe I get it. You probably go through a little bit of a process, kind of like me. Maybe made some picks, not all of them yet, but when you're ready, go out there and get those brackets turned in. We've got a couple games already starting off tonight, so if you're thinking that, I don't know, maybe Texas can win a couple games or North Carolina States can win a couple games. Well, you better get those picks in, all right? Otherwise, you got UMBC and Howard in action too. So, and then tomorrow, a couple more games, including Miami of Ohio. They're going to be in action. And then Thursday, we get into the big stuff. That's when the Badgers will also be in action too. So, but we'll talk a little bit more about that with RJ here coming up in just a little bit. We have spent a lot of time talking some baseball here this morning with the World Baseball Classic coming to an end tonight. The championship game, Team USA versus Team Venezuela. You want to make your picks? Send them on over. All right, make your predictions. Which one or which team do you think is going to come away with the championship? Opening day is next week, so we are inching closer and closer to the start of the Milwaukee Brewers season. We've been kind of doing some countdowns, at least in my list of top 10 most important Brewers people for the success of this season. Kicked it off yesterday. We've gotten through 3 players, Sal Frelick, Brandon Woodruff, and Andrew Vaughn. We'll have more coming up all the way up until opening day, where I'll reveal my number one most important. I don't want to say most important. They're all important. Most maybe critical, pivotal Brewers person for the overall success of this squad, this team for this season. We chatted a little football. We chatted a little bit about that too. So it's still fairly quiet right now in terms of the second week of free agency and such. Yesterday we had the trade of Justin Fields going to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I know some Packers fans were maybe kind of wanting to see that trade get done, and Packers fans wanted to see Justin Fields as the new backup in Green Bay and that, but obviously that is not happening. So rumors are still out there about the potential of Anthony Richardson, but I don't know. We'll see what Green Bay decides to do with their backup quarterback. Are they going to just roll with Desmond Ridder? Are they going to try to bring in another veteran? I think I don't want it to be a rookie. I don't want it to be a rookie. I want it to be a guy who has at least been in the league a couple of years, a veteran experience. Maybe there is some interest in bringing in Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup and such. But I wouldn't mind if they, or maybe it's a thing too. You know, we're talking about this in March. Maybe they literally kind of do the same thing that they did when they brought in Malik Willis. They go through preseason, they go through training camp, and kind of target a guy that might get cut, and they just go and send a 7th-round pick for the guy. That's what they did for Malik Willis, obviously, because Sean Clifford and such wasn't getting it done. It was clearly evident they weren't getting any good production from their backup quarterbacks that preseason. So they flipped a 7th-rounder to bring in Malik Willis, who was going to be cut anyways, and all the rest is history. So maybe there's another guy like that out there. Possibly. I know one name that some fans I've gotten is Will Levis from the Titans. Now, Will Levis isn't going to be a starter or anything like that, but would Tennessee want to move on from him right away? Just look, what's his base salary for, or what's his cap hit? Yeah, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year, but he's got a cap hit of $3 million. So maybe as a possibility, but again, they wouldn't have control over him after this year, where Malik Willis was kind of that unique one where they had a couple more years left with him. They acquired him and then goes in as the backup. Otherwise, we're going to have the same probably conversation next year in terms of a backup quarterback. So, but remains to be seen at this point what Green Bay decides to do for that backup quarterback spot. I still think I'd be more comfortable if they would bring in another veteran and maybe just competes against Desmond Ridder, something like that. But we'll talk some more football maybe coming up a little bit later on. It is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday, so what's grinding your gears? Get it off your chest if you'd like and share it with the rest of the class. Also, your confessions for the day, our sports confessions for the day. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, fill in the blanks. Best ones we'll read up on the air. Okay? I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. What you got? A lot of you, I'm sure, probably also looking at some of the bracket picks, looking at the experts, looking at who's picking what. So I don't know if this one was accurate. I did see it because you never know anymore in 2026. I just kind of quickly glanced at it. But somebody had posted like Dickie V's bracket, and I think he had like every 1 and 2 seed in the Elite Eight. But, yeah, looking at Jay Billis's pick. He's got Wisconsin going to the round of 32, but losing to Arkansas. He says Wisconsin has good shooting big men who can make things challenging for Arkansas. In fact, I think the Badgers present a tough challenge for Arizona if they get to the second weekend. They can rain down 15 threes in a game. That's what they did to Michigan. But the Razorbacks have Darius Acuff Jr., and nobody else does. Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I mean, Darius is averaging 23 points a game this year. He's shooting 44.5% from three this year. There's no question he is one of the best players in the entire country. And that is going to be a challenge for Wisconsin if, in fact, they do advance to play Arkansas. But here's one. He's got, Billis, we talked about if anybody's going to pick Texas to win. Billis has Texas taking down Gonzaga. The Zags are playing without Braden Huff and his 17.8 points per game and 5.6 rebounds per game, which limits their offense and defense. Gonzaga is the better team, but consider taking a flyer here. Texas is a sneaky 11 seed because of its size. Interesting. Anybody have the courage, wherewithal, gonads to pick some of these play-in teams to advance a couple games? Maybe to the Sweet 16. Sometimes it happens. We've seen it. What's Jay Billis's Final Four here? Let me see if I can. So he's got Michigan State versus Illinois and Arizona versus Iowa State. Arizona versus Michigan State. Winner, Arizona. Two Big Ten teams battling it out. I'll tell you, my kid picked 3 Big Ten teams to go to the Final Four. He went Duke, Illinois, Michigan, Purdue. And was it Duke over Michigan or Duke over Purdue? I have to double check. I can't remember. But yeah, he had 3 out of the three of the 4 Final Four teams were all were Big Ten teams. So, but how many Big Ten teams you got in your Final Four? 1, 2, 3, 4? None? What do you got? Let me know. Let's catch up on a few more texts here before we got to take a quick break and get to Mr. Cardinal as we talk some more Badgers and such. We have Ben saying, when we were talking about some potential baseball rule changes, he said the second base experiment is a joke. Baseball is getting way too cute with a lot of their rule changes and is diminishing the value of the game. For me, I understand that they're trying to get a younger fan base in it, but some of these rules are just absolutely ridiculous. Kevin kind of chiming in with the same thing, saying, I hate that baseball is always tinkering with their rules. It's making their diehard fans lose interest at the expense of hoping to gain younger fans. Another texter, don't have a name, can't give you any cred, but they said these rules are a joke. If Major League Baseball does implement these, they're turning minor leagues into a Savannah Bananas baseball. And then Bill with a quick text coming in here too, saying that he hates all the rules, or I hate all the rules that Major League Baseball has implemented over the last few years, ABS, pitch clock, and now some of these experimental rules that they're toying with. Stop ruining the game that I grew up to love. That is what's grinding my gears. Yeah, I get it. All right, let's take a quick break, and we're going to switch gears here a little bit, and we're going to talk some hoops. We'll talk some college basketball with RJ. We'll talk some college hockey, all that fun stuff too. So quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. When it comes to fresh, convenient, and delicious, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire has got you covered. From fresh produce, and premium meats to bakery favorites and ready-to-go meals, everything you need is under one roof. Planning some dinner tonight, grabbing lunch on the run, or stocking up for the week, Hy-Vee makes it simple for you. A store that feels like your neighborhood market, just a bit bigger. Plus, with daily and weekly deals and seasonal specials, there's always something new to discover. Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, where there is a helpful smile in every aisle. Continuing some hoops chats, getting set for the tournaments, Badgers in action on Thursday and such. Let's bring in our expert, Mr. RJ Cardinal, who is joining us here this morning. Good morning, RJ. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Living a dream, man. Living a dream. Getting ready for a little March Madness and such coming up here. So let me ask you this. Badgers getting the 5 seed. They take down Illinois. They made things really close with Michigan. Do you feel pretty confident? Are you feeling good about this Badger team as they head in the tournament, even though they got that infamous 5 seed in a 5-12 matchup going up against High Point?
I mean, after the way you kind of watched them play, both against Illinois and Michigan, being down almost 20 points in each game and coming back and winning one, and not really, completing the comeback in the second, but tying with seconds left. You got to like where they're at. And kind of like we talked last week, I think the only way they could have gotten to be a 4 was probably winning the whole thing. So they plateaued where we were talking about, and the only thing that was going to help them move forward was making the championship game. So would they have gotten to be that last 4 or maybe the top 5? It just all really depended on last week. But, you can't be upset with that loss to Michigan. They played well during the Big Ten tournament, got 2 games, lost to a 1 seed. And overall, their body of work really kind of shows they have what it takes to be able to make a run here. And we'll see how it starts at, a little before 1 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah, it feels like, depending on, because right now we're probably at the stage, what does this expert have to say? What's their bracket look like? And I've seen everything from like, hey, Wisconsin could be a dangerous team. I saw Jay Billis say, hey, if they get to Arizona, they could present a major challenge to Arizona, but yet they still picked Arkansas over Wisconsin. So it just kind of it feels like it's the same thing that we've talked about all year long. This is a team that maybe can hit the Sweet 16, maybe be a threat to the Elite 8, but would you be surprised if they had an early exit too?
Right, and we've been watching it the whole year.
Right.
It's one of those, watching some of these preview shows now, I don't think a lot of people have been watching Wisconsin, because all I'm hearing is they're the pick to be the 12-5 matchup because High Point loves speeding up the tempo, and they average around 90 points a game. Okay, well, they haven't played a team over in the top 100 all season. and they're the only team in the field that hasn't done so. And clearly these people aren't watching Wisconsin.
Right.
Wisconsin's running an up-tempo game themselves. And I mean, even Clark Kellogg said he liked the size of High Point, and now all I'm hearing from local sports people, they don't have the size Wisconsin has. So I'm not sure what's going on here from a national stage, but I think you still have people thinking you have pre-Final Four run Bo Ryan and Dick Bennett still coaching this team, running, 5 passes and run the shot clock down. So I'm not sure what people are thinking, but it is one of those we've seen the Badgers play down to their competition. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but definitely I think we can at least get one win out of this. But if we're not making shots, and High Point is, it could be one of those that things just start piling up and we see an early exit. You go right out of the bat with High Point averaging around 90 points a game. Arkansas averages around 90 points a game. You have two teams there that, in a matchup-wise, hammer the over. I think right now I saw High Point, Wisconsin at 168.5. And, I mean, Badgers have been averaging 84 a game, so there's your over right there. Should happen in game one. It's hard. It's hard to see this Wisconsin team losing to High Point in that first round. Not saying it's not going to happen, but I just don't think it'll happen.
Right. And then if they do win and they take on Arkansas, obviously you got the Calipari head coach, over at Arkansas. But then we know Arkansas's got one of the best guards in the country too. And again, not to keep quoting him, but that's what Jay Bilas said. That's what Arkansas has, and nobody else has that. But I mean, Wisconsin's got a pretty good backcourt duo here too, RJ. So it's like, do you think Nick Boyd and John Blackwell can do enough to maybe slow down Darius Suckuff Jr., or is he, in your opinion, that good that it's going to be a really tough test for Wisconsin?
I don't know. Apparently, Blackwell and Boyd have been going against some of the best in the country because neither of them made first team all conference at guard. So I think they're both still being slept on, even after both scoring 30 points against Illinois. Not even in the mention of some of the top guards in the country. And I mean, somehow Blackwell ended up third team, Boyd second team, but I think there's some disrespect or lack of watching Wisconsin this year. And part of that is because, I mean, heck, when Wisconsin was on its little run there, they weren't getting ranked for one reason or another when all their losses at one point were to undefeated teams ranked in the top 15. And, they weren't being even considered in the receiving votes. So there has been a disrespect for Wisconsin players and the team as a whole this whole season. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I think on a national stage, as people get surprised by the production of having probably in the tops in the country in a backcourt with Boyd and Blackwell, rather than just one singular guard that can be your entire team.
How much of a bonus do you think it was for Wisconsin, not only to beat Purdue in the regular season finale, but then what we saw them do in this tournament without Nolan Winter, because, I mean, he's part of the big three that we've talked a lot about this year with Blackwell and Boyd. But how much of a bonus with that experience do you think could help them in the tournament?
Well, I mean, just in those games alone, we saw Belauskas and Rapp kind of step up and become players we thought they were going to be from the beginning of the year, from everything we heard. So, and those two were just pulling down rebounds and feeding the guards. So it was good to see. I think it was kind of a blessing, I guess, because those guys got minutes and I think made this team a little more well-rounded. It's looking like both Janicki and Winter were back in practice and full participants up until they got to like full physical actual play. So we'll see where we are on Thursday, but it sounds like we could get 2 more guys back in the rotation here, one starter and one's your kind of energy bench guy, and we'll see moving forward what happens there. But I think it was a good thing to have the minutes split between Rapp and Bilauskis and getting them ready for hopefully a March run here.
Honestly, too, maybe it was maybe a good thing that they lost to Michigan because, of course, they would send Wisconsin out to the West Coast in Portland for a Thursday game, and just getting that extra day off too. So I don't know if that fact.
Well, I mean, at least it's not a late game, and you're playing a team from North Carolina and then Arkansas in your first 2 if it comes to fruition. So just as much travel, if not more. Well, definitely for North Carolina more, but they got to deal with the travel too. So not like you're getting placed and playing BYU in the West region, and they don't have to travel at all.
Right.
So,
good point.
Yeah. So not too upset about it there. Maybe the draw is something to be like, wow, come on, just. They could have been a bit higher of a 5 seed because, I mean, look at they. I think 2 or 3 of their wins are considered like the top wins of college basketball this year. At Illinois, at Michigan, and then I forget what the other one was. It was at Purdue. The top 3 best wins in college basketball this year. I think by metrics or something are the Badgers. And I mean, you don't get there by luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. Hey, before I switch gears here for a little bit, I want to ask you this. Greg Gard, this Badger basketball team, how important is it? Because I feel like there's probably some fans still waiting in the weeds and waiting to see how this tournament's going to go. If the Badgers don't get out of the first weekend again this year, then those fans who still question Greg Gard, then they're going to come back out. I feel like there's some of them sitting in the weeds here. How important is it for Wisconsin to get out of the first weekend for the first time since, Greg Gard's second year as head coach for this team?
Yeah, I think it's pretty important just to have those people shut up. But in terms of Greg Gard's job security, he'll be back next year. I mean, we've seen the progression of this team and where it's going over the last 3 years, and he recognized there needed to be a change. He knew he wasn't going to get NIL help from the university or the collective, and decided to help themselves out. And they have their own, basically, NIL through other boosters, not through the NIL collective here at the UW. So I think he's recognized it. He's made changes. Would you like tournament success? Absolutely. There aren't many teams that get that. Even some of the blue bloods, I mean, they don't make the Final Four every year. They don't make the Sweet 16 every year. Do they make it a lot? Sure. But it's one of those. Also, be careful what you wish for. We've seen it with the football program now. They want to change, and now people want to just complain for the sake of complaining about where the football program is compared to where it was. Well, where were you when we were averaging 9 games a year and going to a bowl game every year? Well, we weren't contending for national championships. True. Nobody was donating to NIL either at that point in time. So at this point in time, if you want to complain, start putting money towards it. And then if failures happen, it turns into, it might be time to move on. But until then, until we can make Wisconsin on par with some of these other programs that are pulling in top talent every year on multiple levels of sport, kind of have to just say this is where we're at because of where we are in our donations. And Greg Gard seems to be doing a pretty good job in the transfer portal, as well as some of the freshmen he's bringing in, because a couple of guys, like Daniel Freitag had a good year. He wasn't going to get minutes here at Wisconsin. He's gone and done pretty well at Buffalo. And then you had Cam Hunter. Came from Central Arkansas last year. He was happy he did it. Didn't get the minutes he wanted. Went back to Central Arkansas and was the conference player of the year. So, like, there's identifying talent, and I mean, that's not a freshman. That's another transfer portal kind of thing there. But, I mean, he's identifying the talent, and the talent's coming. But in order to have that happen, even more than that, I think we need a little more of the NIL. And it sounds weird to say that, but, I mean, it's the day and age we're in. So, yeah, I think job security's there, but getting out of the first weekend will calm the haters, if you will.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Switching gears here a little bit, for women's hockey, we know they are now in the Frozen Four. They get a little bit of a break here because that won't be in action until next week here, but they got it's next. No, it's this Friday. I'm looking at the men's schedule. My apologies, possibly for a men's team.
No worries.
But, Frozen Four, Penn State's coming up this Friday. RJ, how do you like that matchup for Wisconsin to potentially get back to the NCAA championship, which would be on Sunday if they could beat Penn State on Friday?
It's one of those you can go up and down everything and look at all the metrics and all that. Outside of Ohio State, I don't know how you can look at this and say Wisconsin won't be in there. They're 32-5. Good team. Outside of the WCHA, though, I'm not sure how good some of these other women's hockey conferences are. So it tends to be one of those, if you aren't in WCHA, it becomes one of those you're automatically going to be an underdog. And I think it comes at the right, because the WCHA is just top to bottom for most of the year. Had some of the top 10 teams in the country. Some have fallen a little bit throughout the season, but there was a time where Ohio State, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Duluth, and Minnesota State were all in the top 10. So there was some good competition going on there. I don't know much about the AHA that Penn State's in, but, I mean, I got to pull for Wisconsin here and assume that they'll be marching on to the national championship game, probably against Ohio State again. So we'll see where that goes. But, I'll pull for Wisconsin until somebody proves me wrong, to make a national championship game.
Then on the men's side, so they did lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten quarterfinal last Wednesday. So now they're the selection show is coming up this weekend. Do they got enough to get in there? Do you think, or they're going to miss out this year?
Well, they should make it in. I think they should make it in. It'll just really depend on how this weekend's conference championships go. Because as long as there are no upsets and if it goes chalk, Wisconsin's in. If Ohio State ends up beating Michigan, if there's some other ones who didn't win their conference and have a shot of getting an automatic bid that'll knock some people out and still have the number one seed from their conference going in. We want chalk, not chaos, for the Badgers to lock it in, because I think they're still in the rankings. I forget what it's not the pairwise anymore. It's called something else. They're 11th or 13th. So they're in there as of now, but if there's chaos this weekend, that could drop dramatically, and their at-large bid could be all for naught. So hoping only good things happen this weekend for the men's team.
All right, RJ, before I let you go, Wisconsin picks for this weekend. You got them going to the Sweet 16 by the time we chat with you next week?
I mean, I can't not pick them, right? I mean, my heart says yes. We'll make it to the second weekend and play in the Sweet 16.
I like it. He's RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst this morning. Appreciate the time as always, sir. Enjoy the games, and hopefully we're talking about maybe a potential matchup against Arizona next week when you're on there. But another rematch, a Wisconsin-Arizona game. So
I hope that's what we're talking about, and fingers crossed. And if we play like we did against Illinois and Michigan, hopefully we don't get down by 15 to 18 points. But if that team shows up, it could be a buzzsaw, especially with a day's rest in between games rather than playing 3 games back to back to back. So looking forward to it, and hopefully we're talking about nothing but good things next week for both hockey teams and men's basketball. Hey, women's basketball made the WBIT,
That's
whatever
right.
that is.
Yeah.
So they're playing Thursday as well. So glad to see they are recognized, at least in some fashion, to be worthy of a postseason invite of some kind. So step in the right direction for that program as well. It's good to see. Haven't been relevant for a very long time, but hopefully we can get things righted there and talk about more than just women's hockey and men's basketball and during the winters.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm excited. I know because locally wise, there's a couple of players that are going to go down there and such, but it seems like she's done a really good job in terms of recruiting and getting some of the in-state talent to go over there too. And it's a tough competition when you've got Green Bay just, continuing the powerhouse for women's basketball on that side of the state too. So.
Right. And really just even having some of the in-state talent considering Wisconsin again is good. I mean, you're seeing them put it up on graphics and things like that of top 5, 10, whatever. For the longest time, it wasn't even a consideration for one reason or another. So, like you said, good to see that your flagship program, I know Green Bay has been better than Wisconsin for a long time, but your flagship university kind of coming back and being able to hopefully continue to climb as they go along here with the new coach. So
exactly,
love to see it. And hopefully we're talking about good things next week.
Absolutely. All right, RJ, you have a good rest of your week, buddy, and we'll chat soon. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. We'll talk to you later.
You got it. There you go. There's RJ Cardinal joining us here this morning. All right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more coming up after these quick words. When it comes to quality meat, you don't guess. You go right to the experts at Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. You're not just buying meat, but you're buying experience. Hand-cut steaks, fresh ground beef, house-made brats and sausages, thick-cut chops done exactly the way you like them. This is your neighborhood butcher shop where quality comes first and service still matters. Planning a cookout or stocking up for the week, maybe looking for that perfect steak for dinner tonight? Well, stop on in to Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire and taste the difference that a real butcher makes. Mike's Star Market, fresh, local, and done right. All right. I do have to take another break here before the top of the hour, as just playing a little bit of a catch-up here and such. But nonetheless, we'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up in the next hour with the World Baseball Classic final coming your way tonight. I want some predictions. You going to go with Team Venezuela or Team USA? What you got? All right, we'll revisit some Brewers chat as well. If the Brewers dropped 24 runs against the Dodgers yesterday in their spring training game. You want to talk about pace of play? That game nearly went 4 hours yesterday. 4 hours. 3 hours and 54 minutes to be exact. So, but Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll maybe throw a little bit more football talk in here, too, because Bill Huber, who covers the Packers for SI.com, six free agents that still are available who could start for the Packers. Kind of talked a little bit about some bargain shopping in the 7 o'clock hour, so maybe we'll kind of revisit this in the next hour and take a look at the 6 players that Bill Huber puts on there. And I'll just give you a little bit of a hint. There's only one offensive player. Only one offensive player on this list. But definitely a few names you have heard about or you have heard of. So kind of go over that too. Also, continue to send me your Grind My Gears Tuesday. What's grinding your gears? Brought to you by Toyson Ford. Also, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, fill in the blanks. Best ones I'll read up on the air. And then your confessions. All right, give me some sports confessions. I know you have them. All right, confess your sports sins and send those on over. So lots to get to yet in the final hour. So, again, playing a little bit of a catch-up here. So, actually, no, we got a few minutes yet before I got to take my final break for this hour. Bucks are back at it tonight, taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah. What else can we say? I mean, this is a grind. This is another example of a grind my gears. I mean, what else can we say about this Bucks team? They're going up against Cleveland. It's at home. But I'll tell you right now, usually we do our picks at the end. I'm picking the Cavs to win. Take away the suspense. Take away all that. They're still 5.5 games, 5.5 games back from the Hornets for that final spot in the playoffs. Like 15 games to go here. Time is running out. They've got, they're just, yeah. At what point do you just start to follow these games, these final games for the Bucks, because it might be the last time Giannis suits up with a Milwaukee Bucks jersey? It's got to have crossed your mind. It's crossed my mind. And, again, he's one of my kid's favorite players on his favorite team. So it's like, hey, buddy, might have to kind of watch some of this and, just in case he doesn't suit up in that 34 Bucks jersey again. Just cover your bases. Hate to think that, but it's in my mind right now. That's kind of how I'm approaching these last, 15 games for the Bucks' regular season. It stinks, but I think that's becoming more of a reality right now at this point. All right, quick break, and then we'll wrap up the third hour and then head into the fourth hour. We'll be right back after these quick words. Hunting season will be here before you know it, and that preparation starts right now at Tilden Gun. They know serious hunters don't wait until opening day to get ready. Whether you're gearing up for the upcoming spring turkey season or planning ahead for fall, now is the time to make sure your equipment is dialed in. From shotguns and rifles to optics, ammunition, and must-have accessories, Tilden Gun has a selection and expertise to help you step into the woods with confidence. Maybe it's time to upgrade your setup. Maybe it's time to sight in that new optic, or maybe it's just stocking up so you're not scrambling later. Turkey season demands precision, patience, and preparation. Stop on in to Tilden Gun and talk with the people who understand the hunt, because they live it too. Tilden Gun, get ready now so you're ready when it matters the most. And don't forget those extra bonus tags or those extra tags on sale this week. New zones up each day. All right. So started off yesterday, zone 2 today. All right, make sure that there's availability in the weeks that you want to go to. So, but that'll open up at 10 a.m. For the new zone today. So, just saw Ken Ingles posted some updated salary cap stuff for the Packers. Current salary cap $21.95 million. After the draft and after the Hobbs release, $28.53. Effective for the regular season, $13.65. To sum it all up, as he says, plenty of extension room for some players. So he notes 3 of them on there as Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, and Devontae Wyatt. So, okay. Yeah. I'm going to put the number. I think they get 3 extensions done this year. That might be a little high, but I think they get 3 extensions done at some point this year. And I think it's those 3. Watson, Kraft, Wyatt. I think Wyatt or Watson get done first. I think Kraft will eventually get done, and maybe they're just waiting for him to return to the field and such, just to kind of cover their behinds in case there is a little bit of an injury setback and such. But yeah, that's wrong. That's just my prediction. So, all right, shot clock's going to cut me off. Let's get back to some more baseball talk coming up next hour. All right, talk a little more Brewers as we start to wrap up spring training here. A little over a week away from opening day. We'll talk some football too. More football, I should say. Go through Bill Huber's list. Is it these 6 players that he listed as potential options for Green Bay get you excited, trip your trigger at all or anything like that? All right, we'll go through that coming up just past the top of the hour. Final call for any grind my gears